Hi, welcome back to Liam's AP Psychology course. Today we're going to look at the last part of Unit 4 Learning of the AP Psychology course. My name is Liam Kim, a junior in Korea International School Jeju, and today we're going to look at Module 30, which is on the topic of learning by observation. So, we're going to look at what observation learning is. And observation learning is also called social learning, and it is a learning that is done by observing others. And modeling is the process of observing and imitating a specific behavior. And there was this psychologist called Albert Bandura, and he was a behaviorist. And Albert Bandura, he showed that children became more aggressive when they observed adults being more aggressive. So Bandura is really famous for this experiment that he took, in which he found out that children, they tend to follow the adults' actions. So this was called the Bobo doll experiment, and this is a really important key term that you need to know. So in his experiment, he put children in a frustrated situation by providing the child with toys and then taking it away. And some children were also shown adults hitting something called a Bobo doll, which is a really big doll, and another group of children were not shown that kind of scene where the adults were violently hitting the Bobo doll. And the result was that the children who watched adults hitting the dolls became more aggressive. They became more likely to hit the dolls themselves. So they were following, the children were modeling their behavior off of the adults' actions after watching what they were doing. And this showed the concepts of vicarious reinforcement or vicarious punishment, which is the idea that even if we don't personally experience the reinforcement or the punishment ourselves, watching others receive them have similar results because you get to model the ones who are in that situation and tend to follow their actions. For instance, the children who saw the adults hit the Bobo doll probably saw that hitting the doll, which was the behavior, made them feel better on reinforcement. And then in addition to this, although it is not stated in this study guide, because the children may have learned that the adults are not going to be punished, they haven't been punished even after making physical contact with the Bobo doll, they might have thought that it is okay to physically hit a doll, right? So through that kind of observational learning, they are now more prone and they feel more freer to hit the doll because they know that they're not going to be punished for that action. So that is another kind of reinforcement that is in this experiment. Now we're going to look at mirrors and imitation in the brain. We have mirror neurons in the frontal lobe that fire when performing certain actions or when observing another doing so. So this mirror of another's action may enable imitation and empathy. And basically, these neurons are believed to play an important role in the way we learn through observation. And an experiment example of imitation is that monkeys that grew up with forgiving monkeys were more likely to make up and be friends again after a fight. The humans, they imitate all the time too. For example, fashion, the style you wear your clothes, catchphrases, foods, traditions, or ceremonies, these are all imitations because you're following some kind of style that other people has already implemented to their lifestyles, right? So we learn from doing what others are doing. See, so this is how observational learning works. And babies, they also imitate human gestures during the time of 8 to 16 months after their birth. And by 12 months, babies look where adults look. By 14 months, children imitate acts seen on TV. And children between 2 to 5 over-imitate. They copy irrelevant action. For example, they may imitate using a key to open a door, even if there's no need for a key at all. So this is when the observational learning kind of reaches its peak, because now these children are trying to imitate every single action that they are seeing, even doing it overly, more than needed, in an excessive manner, right? They're using a key to open an automated door system, right? An automated system door. They're trying to use a key to open it. It's kind of hilarious, right? It's kind of funny how humans, they tend to do some things overly, and especially how children try to do it in a more kind of extreme manner, because they don't know how to differentiate between situations, right? When they need a key and when they don't need a key. And the theory of mind is the ability we have developed as children to infer another's mental state. Basically, it's our capacity for empathy. And emotion is contagious. When we see others who are sad, we become kind of sad too, right? So this is another example of observational learning. If you see let's say some of your friends cry because they got a really bad score in the grades, let's say they got an F, but then the emotion kind of passes on to you, right? Because you feel empathy, and empathy derives from a learning of observation. Because you're observing your friend crying, you also feel sad too, and you feel you want to cry. Well, some of you may not feel that way, right? And I would like to tell you that I like to guess that maybe your MBTI, it includes a T, right? You're the ones who are really logical and tend to not really empathize emotionally with somebody else. But people like me who have an MBTI personality of F, the F people, they tend to cry along their friends if one of their friends got an F on their test. And that kind of tendency derives from the observational learning psychology. So is desire. If a smoker watches an actor in a movie or TV show smoking, he or she will have the desire to smoke as well. Now let's look at some applications of observational learning. Prosocial behaviors are positive, constructive, and helpful behavior. Prosocial models can influence people and communities positively, and think about Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr. These really influential figures, right? You tend to follow them. The effectiveness of a model is most efficient when the behavior is consistent. For example, if Martin Luther King Jr. tried to get people to participate in non-violent action but actually went around beating people up, he would not have had that big of an effect, right? So he kind of demonstrated non-violence himself first, and then he led people to follow him through observational learning and through imitation. And when prosocial models promote prosocial behavior, that's called a prosocial effect. And antisocial behaviors are negative, destructive, and unhelpful behavior. Antisocial models can influence people and communities negatively. Aggressive or violent parents can cause children to become aggressive or violent as well. Although genes have an influence, the environment does so as well. Children actually learn to become violent from their parents. So when you become parents, it's really crucial to kind of watch out what you're doing, right? And what you're saying, because children will imitate what you are doing, and they will become more violent. And it's the same thing with violence and risky behavior on TV, right? Because if you see some kind of really kind of explicit content on TV, some people may try to imitate it, right? Because people have a tendency to copy what they are seeing because of the psychology of observational learning. So that's why we really need to kind of watch out what kind of themed TV show you're watching, right? Because it can really have an impact on your life. Okay, AP Psychology students, that is the end of today's lecture, and that was the last video for Unit 4. I will come back with the contents in Unit 5 on the next video. And stay safe, stay strong until then. The AP test is approaching, so good luck. We can do it together. Okay, goodbye, students. See you next time.